Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back, Pat Jankiewicz, author of The Greatest American Hero Companion. Pat, how you doing?
Not bad. The question for you, Jersey Joe, is how are you doing? Are you guys still having those funky orange skies from Canada?
Oh, thank you. I read a report that it was going to come back a little bit. There was like Canadian forest fires coming here, and then for one day, the sky was orange and it smelled like a fireplace all day long. And thankfully, the next day it was fine.
Good,
But
good, good.
we've been okay since then. Knock on wood.
I'm very happy. Yeah, knock on wood. Here we go. I'm very happy to hear that, Joe. Stay well, stay safe.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say before I forget, thank you for doing this. It's really been a joy to sit with you and talk about some of my favorite shows and how your books connect with that. So thank you.
Joe, the thank you is not from me, it's to you. You were the guy who went out and you put up notice of the book when you found out the book was coming. You spread the word everywhere, and we were the number one book on Amazon's TV reference book new debut for 2 weeks. I owe you incredible thanks. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
If you were closer, I would do your laundry. Mow your
But
lawn if you have one.
oh, no problem. Thank you. And I think the book sold itself. It's wonderfully written, and it just has everything I was looking for in the show. And when I read the Hulk book, and said to myself, if the Hulk book is anything like, if this book is going to be anything like the Hulk book, we're in for a treat. And I couldn't put it down, to be honest with you.
What's funny is you wrote me when you were reading the Hulk book, and I was
Mhm.
deep into this. I was in the last. These books are so much work. They're so much work. I don't want to complain. My sister goes, I listened to that podcast with you, and she goes, you complain about all the information you have to accrue. And it's like, she's right. But all you see when you're working on them, it's like being in a mine shaft. It's so gratifying to get
Mhm.
somebody like you who gets the book.
Mhm.
And to me, all I can see is like a mine shaft. I see myself as like I'm exhuming a dead series. I feel like a pop culture pathologist. You exhume the body of the series. You open the series to see what it was like when it was alive, what it went through, what killed it.
Mhm.
You're talking to all these witnesses to what happened all the way through. And you don't talk to anyone who loves the show until after it's done.
Mhm.
And I just like every one of your like when I was doing the Hulk book, it was like being in Vietnam. I didn't when I agreed to do the book, I forgot how long the show went on. I forgot that there were five TV movies between
Yeah,
all 4 or 5 seasons. And
right.
all I could see was my 1,000 yard stare. And I kept thinking, who is this for? What if I'm doing what if nobody gives a damn about the Incredible Hulk TV series? All this is all because you're quietly going insane, your own private overlook hotel as you're writing the book.
Mhm.
And I remember a producer friend of mine, Lottie Ferris Knowles, she posted on her Facebook page, I guess she was watching Family Guy, and that night's Family Guy was an open parody of the opening credits of The Incredible Hulk, using the music and everything else. And I remember from that point on, okay, I can finish this book as much work as it is. This is for Lottie, and this is for Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy. And you wrote me at the hardest part of the Hulk, the hardest part of Greatest American Hero. You wrote me because you were reading the Hulk book, and I would give myself like 10 minutes a night to look at my emails and look at Facebook and all that. Because the rest of the time that night, I was writing every night on the book, trying to get it ready, trying to get it done. And then you started, you mentioned something in your emails. And I thought, this guy is hinting that he wants a Greatest American Hero book.
I
And
know.
it's like, so remember that? I swore to secrecy. I said,
Yeah,
buddy, listen to this. This is, believe it
because
or not, this has been my life.
right. No, because I love the setup of the Hulk book where you interviewed everybody. You brought it to like modern day with some of your interviews. You talked about all the trivia in each of the episodes, and it was just very interesting to hear different perspectives. And if I thought if you could take that and bring it to Greatest American Hero, I just think it would have been a phenomenal book. And I was like, there's this hero in the early 80s. It was the only show on TV at the time, and I was he was he was a teacher like I was, and I was trying to hint that I really want I really think it would be an easy book to read, you
Once
know.
I realized where you were going, I thought, okay, this guy has to know. I'm going to tell this guy. And I swore you to secrecy because we're in the final stages trying to finish the book.
Hmm.
What the weird thing about this book, and my theory used to be, it would be so nice to do a TV show that wasn't on for 5 seasons with 5 TV movies like Hulk was.
Right,
And like I did Buck Rogers, which was 2 seasons,
right.
and that was a lot of work, and there's a lot of great stories. With this one, I thought, oh my God, it was 3 seasons, but because there were 2 mid-season replacements, I thought this is going to be easy. Well, when you dig into one of these books, when you start getting the stories, the happy stuff and the heartbreak, like what happened in the poor Cannell family during the run of the show, when you keep getting stories like that, amazing stories like that, and when you hear Dennis Danger Madalone's story, and when you hear William Catt's stories, and the wonderful stories about everyone looking at Catt's relationship with his mom, they were so happy when the mom came on the show.
Hmm.
Suddenly, this became, even though it's by far the shortest series I've done a book on, it became my longest book because everybody had a story. And my sister Diane deserves a lot of credit here because what happened, she was visiting, they were in town for the holidays when I was working on when I first finished the book. She was in town when I started getting all these calls from people who heard from other people who were guest stars, crew people, screenwriters, people who heard from their friend. Oh, this guy interviewed me for a Greatest American Hero book. And they started writing me. And my sister just said to me, your big sister, and she's always got good advice. But
Hmm.
she goes, why don't you wait 6 months for everybody to get in touch with you? And so I did all my other stuff. I was working on other things. I have another project coming out later this year I can't talk about yet. But I just shut up,
Hmm.
and the phone would ring, and my brother Don or my brother-in-law Jim was in town at the time, would go, Patrick, that's going to be somebody who wants to talk to you for the book. And it always was. And as soon as I got off the phone, I would point at both of them and go, I blame you guys for jinxing me because it was more work. But the thing is, they would always give you great stories. There was not a slouch in this book. The babysitter from the pilot had a great episode. She has a great story about being the kidnapped waitress in the biker episode.
Okay.
Everybody, when you talk about Ralph had a son in the first couple seasons they got rid of, those are amazing stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
And I'm sure,
everybody had a story.
right. And I'm sure as you were digging through, it was like, oh, we could talk about this now. Like, oh, there's this comes up now. It's kind of like there's a whole new world when you're like exploring it and investigating it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at Robert Culp. To some people in the book, Robert Culp was a prickly pear. To other
Mhm.
people in the book, he was a great guy, and you know what I mean. I mean, I love this. I love the story from that '70s show guy, Don, blanking on your name, Don. Sorry,
It's
but
okay.
the guy from that '70s show told that great story that he was on his first movie playing a TV movie playing a punk harassing Robert Culp.
Hmm.
And then he saw Robert Culp standing apart from the cast and crew, and he went over to talk to him, and he got a great bit of acting advice.
Hmm. And
It
he
was a,
actually
it's a
and he actually played Robert Culp loosely in a web series, I think, like he paid homage to him, right?
that web series was. It's not just a fan film; it's a fan film from a successful producer. It was the producer director on that '70s show.
Oh
And
wow,
when he
cool.
asked Don to play the role, he goes, "You didn't know this when you asked me, but I'm
Mhm.
incredibly grateful to Robert Culp, and oh man, blanking on your last name, Don. God, it'll come to me. But
Okay.
the great thing is Don did the show as an homage to Culp because when he was a kid, when he was a young actor on his first gig,
Hmm.
Robert Culp was incredibly generous to him.
That's cool. That's cool. So I wanted to thank Nancy Johnson because she listened to our interview last time and had a bunch of questions, and I hope I can get to most of them. But
Nancy and Pamela are really great. Nancy and Pamela are on one of the greatest hero sites. They were very kind in the book, so I'm sure she has great questions. Lay them on me, and
That's
your
no
own, of course.
problem. So I'll go with her first one. Okay. So she wants to know with so much detail, how did you interview all at once for recurring characters or writers or directors, or did you meet with them several times according to the season?
You know what? Tell her that's an excellent question. Well, I guess you can see it here. That's an excellent question. And what would happen is when I was doing the book, you always do a list. You always do a list of people you need, people you have a wish list, people you want. I was lucky enough to get everybody, and
Hmm.
everybody was pretty generous. But the best people, William Catt and Dennis Danger, were the best. I think I told you last time, I interviewed William uh, for Starlog magazine right before Starlog magazine went out of business, and I thought he
Right.
was a great interview. And I actually Dennis had me do Dennis showed me how to do a couple simple stunts, nothing requiring a stunt person, on like a couple commercials and stuff.
Right.
And I interviewed Dennis for I think Star Trek magazine, and Dennis. And then later, I was on location on Star Trek Voyager with him in Lone Pine, and we were drinking coffee, and we were looking at. It was a night full of shooting stars. We were just drinking coffee, like in an old western. And Dennis just started telling me greatest American hero stories, and I'm like, I'd forgotten in my article I mentioned how he was a stunt guy on Hero.
Hmm.
And if you look at that article with him from one of the Star Trek magazines, I do like 3 paragraphs on Hero. But
Hmm.
I go and I like that show a hell of a lot. I like Greatest American Hero a hell of a lot more than any Star Trek. So
Right.
on Lone Pine, Dennis started telling me these great stories, and
Hmm.
all his Greatest American Hero stories. I'm like, combined with what William Catt told me, they both, one, they're dear, dear friends, and
Right.
they're very similar types of personality. They're very likable, eager, enthusiastic people, and they have great stories. I mean, the best part about them, I've interviewed them separately, I've interviewed them together. Interview them together, they're the wildest ride in the park. They're very funny. They finish each other's sentences.
Hmm.
They're literally like brothers from another mother. They know each other so well. They're so fond of each other. Even the waitress at Jerry's Deli was very playful towards them because she was used to them doing that when they came in. I
Can
mean,
you talk? Can you talk about how you interviewed them? Like, did you meet with Dennis first, and then there was a story that like, did you have an
well,
appointment set up?
no, yeah, I interviewed them both separately
Okay.
for Starlog. I interviewed them
Right.
both separately, and I remembered them separately as great interviews.
Hmm.
And then I did like a commercial or something for Star Trek where Dennis gave me some stunt tips.
Yeah.
Dennis showed me his trick I still use today. Dennis
Hmm.
showed me how to pick up a beautiful woman at a dead run and keep going with her without
Hmm.
hurting your back. Running across. If you're a monster or a creature, I still use that move, Dennis. Thank you.
I'm sure Dennis
I mean,
appreciates
it
that.
was
Hmm.
I can literally do fight scenes and stuff without hurting anything because Dennis showed me how. You know what I
Oh,
mean? I mean,
cool. Very nice.
and then Dennis once showed my brother and I how to throw invisible CG spears off
Hmm.
a cliff in Lone Pine without falling off the cliff. You know?
Right. Cool. I think Dennis deserves more credit for Greatest American Hero because I think he's like unofficially the fourth member
He
because some of the
literally he
stunts he
literally is a
does.
the opening credits. The opening
Mhm.
credits are a tribute to Dennis because all and William Catt will be the first one to tell you that. That's Dennis really hitting the billboard. That's Dennis in the pilot really knocking himself off against the wall. Even
Yeah.
Stephen J. Cannell said when he saw the billboard scene, "Oh my God, we killed Dennis." You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's horrifying. I mean, and
Right.
Dennis, thank God, is alive and well, knock wood.
Yes.
You know, and he's in, you know, and he just feels like he looks like Steve Perry. He walks like a cowboy. Him and Billy
Mhm,
Cat both seem like cowboys to me because they've
mhm,
seen everything, they've done everything. And the
mhm,
funny thing about them having lunch, you know, I've had lunch with them twice, and it's
mhm,
just, you know, and met with them a couple times on separate interviews and stuff. But the brotherly bond between them was really charming.
mhm.
I found, you know, when I did the book, I kept referencing when I met William and Dennis at Jerry's Deli, where they were kind of they were kind of teasing each other and stuff, and I
Mhm,
kept that's all over Dennis's sequence. I
mhm.
used Dennis's you'll notice Dennis shows up in William Katz's section, and
Yes.
William Katz shows up in Dennis's section
Right.
because each one of them would talk about the other so much with funny, charming, lovable stories. You know, the Cheez It, Dennis pranking him with the Cheez Its, and William Cat refusing to
Yes.
give him the satisfaction of reacting. Hilarious, you
I
know. I
know.
mean, I love that.
Yeah, that was really really cool, and you show it nicely in the book too. You show the bond that they have, and isn't it cool to see that they're still, friendly to this day, 40 years later? You know,
They love each other. They love each other,
yeah.
and it's palpable. You
Hmm.
love them loving each other because it's just so they're like brothers. They're very charming. They laugh, you know, when they're talking about how they met, and William Cat hi hats him with only Buddy. Oh God, I'm blanking the stuntman's name. He directed he directed the last Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movie. And
Hmm.
Dennis, knowing that Buddy was busy on a Clint Eastwood movie, he said, "Not anymore," you know. And he said, "Only Buddy,"
Yeah.
you know. I
Right.
mean, great stories. And
Hmm.
Dennis is my Incredible Hulk book because when you see Dennis, when you see Dennis show up on the Hulk, he's a biker just like he is on Greatest American Hero. Then
Hmm.
you see his hair pinned up. They pinned up his hair to play a soldier. He gets
Hmm.
thrown down the stairs in one episode. I mean, he Dennis is amazing. He's been doing this since he was a kid, you know, and
Yeah.
he's a great stuntman because he lived to tell the tale.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody else would have been as good as stuntman as Dennis is on this show. I mean, just some of the stuff he did. Do you remember? I forgot the name of the episode where he goes up the elevator, through the elevator to the
Yes,
crew,
no,
and
no.
it
I'll
comes
tell
down.
you that's the one where Ralph proposes at the ending, not Newlywed Game.
Uh,
It's
just
the
one the
one right.
suit was meant for.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
You see,
yeah.
they all meld after the book.
I know,
Yeah,
I know. I couldn't do it
after the
either.
book, they all start melding into one season, two seasons. Yeah,
Right.
the third season, that one was great because yeah, what you look at is even when the show is in the third season and the ratings are shaky and you can tell other people on the crew are phoning it in, Dennis was still doing amazing stunts. He did that stunt
Yes.
where it goes over remember Chip Chalmers. Chip Chalmers has done all these different shows and he's been a director and this and that. He
Hmm.
still remembers that and the stunt Dennis does in the Millionaire episode, Don't Mess Around with Jim. He still remembers it as two of the most dangerous, amazing stunts he's ever seen.
When the
But
car goes
Dennis,
over the head, right?
yes, yeah.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
in the car when it
Yeah.
explodes.
Hmm.
You know, and then he got Ronnie Rondell, who used to do stunts on Batman, showed Dennis that stunt. And Dennis, so when you look at what Dennis does, even in the third season, I mean, he does one of the best stunts of the series in a forgettable episode,
Hmm.
the football episode.
Oh, Price
Uh,
is Right.
he saw, yeah, where it was Dennis stops the car
Hmm.
as Ralph, and then puts a Ralph dummy attached to the bumper for the shot and goes through the windshield in the same shot.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that's an amazing, elaborate, dangerous, crazy. He does it, and even in the third season, nobody told him, we're cutting back the budget, things are wrapping up. He's just as gung ho to do an amazing stunt as the first season.
Yeah, I mean, he made it so believable, and he did great work on the show. All right, so let's look
And
at
his
another.
wife and the Danger Dogs. I want to say his wife, I believe her name is Nancy. His wife and the Danger Dogs are great too. You know,
Yes, yes, he keeps the he keeps pictures of them, right? The
yeah,
little
she always
dog.
jokes she's got to.
Yeah,
Dennis has to go before her, or he's going to be wearing a pendant of her.
that's great. All right, so let's see another question. So okay, so what's a story that shocked you that you heard from an interview?
Wow. So you know what the ones when the greatest when Babs Greyhoski was telling me about doing the greatest American heroine, and I found out that it was between the actress and a very famous actress from Friends,
Oh,
you
right.
know,
Mhm.
and she didn't know the actress. That wonderful actress in the third season, Mary, hang on, Mary, what's
Mary
her name, Mary?
Stewart, Mary
Yeah,
Stewart.
God bless you. Yes, well, you know, she didn't know she beat a cast member of Friends. And I mean that, and she's wonderful. I thought she was wonderful in the episode. A lot of her lines are on the nose because it was
Hmm.
only done for network executives.
Hmm.
And but I thought she was wonderful as the heroine. So
That's good.
that story, I remember thinking, oh boy, that's a good story.
Yeah.
And the guest star from the Best Desk scenario had a cult story that kind of
Yes.
surprised me. Don Stark, Don Stark from that '70s show, who did the TV movie, and he played Culp in the TV movie. He had the exact opposite experience of the guy from Best Desk, and that's what I loved about the book. Is when some people would have a bad experience with someone, but other people like Culp did a lot of little acts of kindness to people here and there. You know what I mean? I
Right.
mean, the guy who played Joey in the third season has a wonderful Culp story. And what I like about Culp is Culp would help them. Michael Prey, I did a movie with Michael Prey, and he was very forward with how much help Culp was. Culp would give him some acting advice without being a showboat or anything. He'd go up to Culp because he goes, "This is
I'm
I
sorry, Pat.
Spy. This guy is yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have less than a minute remaining.
Oh, okay.
So all right. So who would you have liked to have interviewed that you didn't get to?
Wow, excellent question. Who would I have liked to interview who's not in the book? Um, I mean, William Zabka didn't really have any answers for me when I was asking about Hero. I would have
Hmm.
loved him to talk about doing the show because his father had worked on the show.
Hmm.
But when I was face to face with him, he didn't really have anything to say about the episode. His dad worked on the show,